So in one word, it's ritual. Um, I think you need to have a strong vision, and that's tied to your why. And when you start out, it's really easy to be ideal and have a vision how you want to change the world. And that's what like slightly delusional and crazy people will do is like, I'm going to fix the world. I can change it. I can fix it. So whatever compels you to start a business is something either that you see a major opportunity in the marketplace, you see an injustice, or there's a major scratch that no one's itching, a major itch that no one's scratching, or you just keep getting a sense like, geez, someone should build this, someone should build this, someone should solve this, and then no one's solving it, and it won't let you sleep at night. And all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm going to solve it, right? So that's your first indication that you have a vision or a why and the kind of why you do what's your purpose, right? So a purpose driven why and a vision is always good. But as you get into it, you start meeting opposition in the world from not from people that want you any ill will, but just life gets in its way. And now it's time for you to define like, okay, I have the why, but what's the how? So what's the how and who and what does the product look like? Who's the ICP? All those things that we got to answer when building a business plan or even just trying to figure it out. That's why it's important on a daily basis, and I've only been doing this for 28 years. What I've learned so far in terms of whether you're joining a startup like I did in Silicon Valley in 99, and I was there for a handful of years, uh, or you're starting your own software company or starting your own business or selling technology, you have to remember the why you're doing it because as things become difficult, if the challenges and problems you're facing weigh more than your why or take up more mind space than your why, then they won and you lost. So whatever you have to do to kind of keep your mind and your heart aligned. So your heart is like kind of like your passion and your love for life and what it is that you want to do. And your mind is kind of figuring out the strategy, the logic to get there. Um, but the mind and logic will never ignite the fire as to your why. So you have to have your the two aligned, right? So my daily practice is not so much like I gotta, journal or anything like that. It's just a daily reminder of what a ritual for a daily reminder of why you're doing this, right? So it could be different things for different people. But if you have like, for example, in my most recent company, my partner and I, we have a daily every day. And we know what we're going to talk about. It's 15 minutes long, but it's a daily. We sit down, we go, these are the things that we got to work on. And if we both feel like there's something major we're trying to crack and we can't crack it, we have to take a step back and go, why do we do this business? Why did we decide to start this? Why do we care about these clients? Why is this important to me in my life? Why is it important to you in your life? So I would say like a ritual around your why is important. And it could just be like a 10, 15-minute ritual where you kind of get centered around like what is it that instead of saying what is that I need to do today, is like why am I picking these 5 activities, not these 15 others? Because there's always going to be more activities and tasks than time allows. And you have to make some decisions along the way for the day and for the week. And at the end of the week, you kind of reflect back and you say, okay, this is out of all these tasks, these were the ones I got done. And it's really inspired by two books that I enjoyed reading. One is 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkham. And then another one is Atomic Habits by James Clear. um, because the 4,000 Weeks kind of puts it really clear as to we have 4,000 weeks in a lifetime, and you're going to have to say no to a lot more things than you say yes. So, in saying no means getting rid of things that aren't aligned with you. So, you might as well do things that matter to you. And then the atomic habits is kind of like this habit stacking thing where things become automatic and you have to think about it. But I would say, yeah, the daily thing I would say is have a small ritual because otherwise routine takes over and it becomes very dull. The difference between routine and a ritual to me is routine is automatic and mindless, and ritual is intent driven and intent based, meaning there's something, for lack of a better word, spiritual or holy about this. And I'm not talking about religion, I'm talking about um, connecting with the heart and mind and the why again, why you're doing this. Because,
All right.
it
So
could
very
be,
interesting. When I ask you about a daily action item I can do to accelerate growth in sales,
Yeah.
You speak about the why. Why do you
You have
think
to.
that those two are so intrinsically connected?
Because look, you can get in the game of selling thinking you have to overcome objections versus going into the game of selling saying I need to serve. Why am I serving these clients? Why do I think I can help them better than what they're doing right now? Like my favorite question on a sales call or when I'm meeting with someone or a partner or raising funds is always like, what are you currently doing? And what's not working about that? Now, if this doesn't get fixed by whenever, what does that mean to the future of your job and the future of the business? And why is this important now? Like, I really need to understand why things are important to them, why they're talking to me. What is it about my website, my email, my LinkedIn profile, my whatever that made them want to talk to me, right? So our latest company is DWE, which stands Do It With You. And it's an agency to help companies grow their pipeline by 7 and 8 figures in record time using AI and automation. So if someone wants to talk to me about that, I know that they have an intent to grow sales, but they don't have the budget for it. They don't want to add more headcount. That's where we can come in. So the question is always why? Why is this important now? Why is this? And then the reason could be many different things. So again, tying it back to my daily ritual, it's like, why am I doing this? Why is this important to me? I have to start from there so I can align with their why.
All right, so understanding your own why is really about connecting with your buyer's why and seeing where it bridges or where you can serve them or where you can help them.
Yeah. And I never close. And I never ask for the close. I let them close themselves. Like in the sales call, like these are the facts. What do you think we should do from here? And if they say I don't want it or I don't need it, I go, okay, well that contradicts what you just told me 10 minutes ago. So what just happened? And if they're scared, they're telling me. If they have um, concerns that they didn't feel like they had an opening to share with me, then now's the opening to tell me the truth, right? And then you get to the truth, and then from there, because I never want to take on a client that gets convinced by my ability to manipulate or whatever you want to call it, charisma, convince. I read all the books, I know all the tricks, but I don't like using them. At the end of
So
the
you,
day,
you talk a
someone's got
lot
to
about
pay.
selling now, but if we go back to the main topic
Sure.
of automating
Oh
sales,
yeah.
how
Yeah.
does that work? How do you go from knowing your vision, knowing how to connect with your buyer's vision so that you can make the sale, and then to actually automate that process?
So there's one thing you can't automate. That's common sense.
You
So
can automate common sense.
no, you can't.
You cannot.
You
Okay.
can't. Okay. So common sense to me means basically, okay, let's apply some logic and common sense. Like, what are we really trying to do here? Once we agree on what the thing that we're the problem we're trying to solve here, then we can automate on top of that. And we can add AI and automation. So when it comes to scaling using AI and automation, you really have to build it on a foundation of common sense. So the common sense looks like this. Do you know who your ICP is? Who's your ideal client profile? Do you know what your value proposition is? Do you have a good offer? Do you have a good lead magnet or value magnet? Can you lead in a way where you deliver value before you ask for anything, right? Those four things build those answering those four questions are not easy, but they're necessary because whatever those answers are, for example, understand your customers' buying signals. Like what would indicate that this is a good ICP for you? Now you have access to so much data, so many tools, whether it's Apollo, Ocean, Sales Navigator, and you can build databases, you can buy databases, but that's just the beginning. Now you have to enrich it. Now you got to look for buying signals, intent signals on social media, on LinkedIn, on their corporate newsletters, whatever it is. You got to scan for those buying signals. And now you put together a really good, well put together profile. And then you use tools like Clay, for example. Clay is an automation enrichment tool that you can do it across thousands of records in minutes versus days, right? And then when you want to scale sales, there's really only one way to do it in my mind is you do direct outreach. The days of like driving inbound sales, meaning you're putting out marketing and all that, they're still there. They still matter. But if you want to scale really fast and you have confidence in your product, you've got some growth already, you know who your customer is, and basically you are confident in your why and what you're doing, then all that will kind of come through in your outreach and in your research and all that. So once you have figured out the details and you know your clients better than they know themselves, then you can speak their language. You speak to their pain point. You speak to the challenges that they're in. You can say, "Look, I noticed you talked about this over here, or you're challenged with this over here, or here's what the industry, whatever the thing may be, and let me see if I can solve it for you, right?" And that's how you scale it, because then you have the more conversations you have, the better you get at defining your ICP, the better you get at scaling your offer. And then the more feedback you get faster, the faster you get it, the sharper the offer becomes. Like 2 summers ago, I met with 140 companies in 3 months, some in person and a good amount, and on video, just like you and I doing. And I went in thinking I had a strong offer, and I came out saying, "Well, I need to rewrite the whole thing." But
Yeah.
that's the point of it. That's the point of it. How else are you going to do it?
You mentioned these four prerequisites before accelerating.
Yeah.
But is there also some kind of number? Do you have to have so and so many sales, or is there a timeline in terms of amounts of customers that also makes sense into determining when acceleration is the right time?
Well, acceleration, the right time for acceleration when you have product market fit, right? So if you're brand new and you haven't sold anything, that means you don't have product market fit yet. So how do you know you have product market fit? Is that you sold a few clients. That those first clients might be in your network, like that's usually how it goes. But then a founder gets to a point where they go, okay, I've sold to everyone that I possibly can in my network. Now I have to go outside my network, and that's scary, right? Because also in the beginning, not every client is a good client, because some clients could sign up because of your relationship with them, and it might take you down a certain path thinking you have product market fit, but really it's just the relationship, and now you're changing the product and you're changing the whole thing to fit that one big customer or those big five customers, and then you kind of lose track of the market, the total TAM, right? Your total addressable market. I think there's no real like how many sales do you need before you accelerate. If you have product market fit, if you sold already, and depending on the average contract value, if it's 15, 20,000 a year, versus 500,000 a year, then how big is your team and all that. But the general rule I would say is like, do you have product market fit?
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very, very much.